My name is Kenji Cumberland. I am 13 years old. I'm in 8th grade in Lincoln Middle School, Cottage Grove. Skiing's important to me because I can't really do other activities.
Ready, Ken? Jeremy. A little soggy later. I like my bacon a little.
Skiing is kind of my only activity I can do. I kind of got the little bit of cerebral palsy.
Yeah, the definition for palsy is basically brain damage of some sort, right? So Kenji was one of those kids wrapped in the cord at birth. And when it came down to it, it was emergency C-section. Kind of tell the story, it's kind of hard to get through. So, not getting all the bigger details, when they removed Kenji and they unwrapped him, they brought him into another side table and the nurses were working on him. And I left Mom and followed him over, and I was kind of standing on, say, to the right side of them. They stepped back at one point, and I realized that Kenji wasn't breathing, he wasn't doing anything, he was just there. And so I walked around to his left side, and I just kind of reached in and said, "Buddy, you got to start breathing." And he opened his eyes and looked at me, and the nurses pushed me out of the way, and they started going. So what we ended up finding out about a year later is that during that process that he had received pretty much lack of oxygen to the brain, and it damaged the part that affects him today. So.
How old is your sister?
4 years old.
Do you guys get along well? Do you hang out over?
We're gonna read it forever.
No. So.
A little jealous of what their relationship is, the common bickering between them. But however, this last weekend when Kenji was taking his mono-ski lesson and the instructor Russ was talking with him, Mira comes up and butts between us, the two volunteers, and gets right up to Kenji on her skis and says, "Kenji, I'm skiing, let's go." And he had the biggest smile on his face. So don't believe what he tells you, but there's definitely a respect and love between them. And for the rest of the day, Mira followed him around as much as she could. So, and it was after my deployment to Afghanistan, we were up at Hoodoo, and we're walking through, and we realized, what's this? There was somebody rolling through on a wheelchair that went out and got into a sit ski. And we were like blown away. We had no idea that was going on. So we started researching a little bit, found out through Eugene Rec, because we were doing some other programs with them, that they had this program called Oregon Adaptive Sports.
Oregon Adaptive Sports, I think their mission statement is something about like incorporating people of all abilities to recreate together in the outdoors. Like, it's something that I've really tried to do is like talk to people as I can with you know, like what Oregon Adaptive Sports is and how they can like participate. And that's why I'm initiating like this trip to do Ski for All too. I just want folks to kind of get in on that a little bit.
Instructors, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, you should join that team. And then like in your team, you can achieve like different challenges of like vertical feet, stuff like that. The cool.
We think of like OAS and you see someone like sit skiing because their legs don't work, but there's so many differences that just like you and I have of like, oh, like I'm nearsighted, like, you know, just like little things like that. And they kind of add up, and so it's just reminded me like we're all just different, we have these differences, and it's cool to get to spend time with other people regardless of those differences.
My goal is to accomplish being a monoskier. being a monoskier is focusing on your balance. And yeah, being solo.
Kenji had a surgery that they went in and released some of the tendons in his hamstring and his abductors and his groin area. The physical therapist, Margaret, she was on a roller seat and says, okay, and usually every time we take 2 or 3 steps, and then Kenji kind of loses his balance and falls in the arm. It's a little hug, and we're done with the lesson. Well, on this particular day, Kenji started walking, and Margaret hit the wall, and Kenji had walked across the room. But these were all steps that proved to us that Kenji was capable of doing more than what we thought he could. I think it was our first skiing experience was shortly thereafter.
My parents went skiing at Hoodoo, saw OAS, and wanted to sign up. And yeah.
We can all relate to a little bit is just like that joy that people get from being outside, and then with OAS or like skiing, something like that. There's so much joy that comes with like the process of learning to do skills to exist in that outdoor environment.
Now that's all called a face shot right there.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. It's something that's challenging, and there's a lot of room for growth, and that like process of trying and failing and like learning is really impactful for people. Like junior racer ski day or Ellie Bartlett ski day, and it's like a day for Ellie. So any kid can come and ski for free. We have like a ton of instructors there. Everybody is like wearing costumes. It's exactly like Ellie. It's super fun, it's super silly, and it's like super inclusive as well. I think that she had this like energy to her that was really exciting.
I didn't get it.
So she did a really good job of getting a ton of students at UO like super excited about
Tastes good.
Oregon Adaptive Sports and working with them. When Ellie passed, I thought I was obviously so sad. It was a huge like tragedy. But it was also so clear to me that like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I hope that when I die, I have done as much stuff as Ellie has in the last like 20 years. Cause I mean, she was always stoked, she was always happy, she was always having a good time. So like, it's inspired me to be more like that and yeah, just embody that a little bit in my life.
And hours after we finished building our snow caves, we all realized that Ellie was missing. No one could find Ellie, and we looked all over the camp. We were calling her name out. Finally, we returned to our snow cave, and Ellie's down on her hands and knees, barehanded, packing out to texture the inside of our igloo with her hands. You know, I would say that she would be out here suffering with us today, but she just didn't even suffer in those conditions. She just dug it, you know? And it just came to me to propose this as I came up here, but in honor of Ellie and her commitment to that tradition, for those of you that know where Ellie's Rock is on Highway 126, I encourage you all to take a moment and turn your radio down on the way out on a trip and ask for a safe trip and a fun trip. And when you're passing back by, turn your radio down again and you know, thank the snow gods and thank you for the opportunity to have a safe trip. Thank you all for being here. Love you all. Isaac, come on. How does he figure out how to ski? Very similar to how you figure out to ski. So you have 2 skis on your feet, and he has 2 skis under his seat.
What I think is really cool about OAS is like, in their perfect world, an organization like OAS like wouldn't really have to exist. Like we would just all exist and recreate together.
I explain it every day.
I believe you.